Hello everyone, welcome to the LIghtbringers Podcast. I hope you're doing very well and everything is good with you and you're being safe, good, awesome, and having fun and exploring new and exciting activities in your life. No
I will be.
Amazing. Okay, so hope everyone's good. People jump in and we're warming up, we're doing all things. Today we're going to be talking about story and also the blog post that came out called The Bare Necessities, a peek at the Lowland Kodan and the story of Janthir WIlds. With two epic persons, Fornax and Kroof, who are apparently different people today, so I will just switch those names around. Oh dear. I was like,
I don't have the awesome corner I can't pull off today, sorry.
Yeah. Wait, what? Sorry about that. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the blog posts. We were talking about ADHD meds earlier.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, here we go. I haven't read this blog post yet, and Kroof's made a video, so make sure you go see that. Fornax has read it, but not made a video, because they had a good old rest today, or yesterday.
Yeah,
when?
I slept in today. I was supposed to make it today, and I woke up at midday, so yeah. Woohoo!
Sleeping is important.
It is. You need rest, so that's good. So we're going to be going through it, so I assume that it will be myself and Kroof reading, and if Fornax wants to read it, they're very welcome to. But first of all,
I will supply the lore context, and you guys can, because I don't want to talk to the stream with a dyslexic reading live. That would be painful for
It could be a
everybody.
live primer for your future recording, and then you'll like get in that recording session and be like, I got it down pat. Easy.
No, public humiliation on a Friday afternoon is not really what I've been looking for today.
The whole
my
reading and
calendar.
dyslexia thing, I'm with you on that one. So I'm that as well. But it's also, I
Like, we don't want to have
words.
Kroof read the entire thing.
Yeah, we like the entire thing.
I will if
It's
you
okay.
need me to.
I'll join you in it. It's okay. Kroof, tell us what you do, where you do it, and tell us about the video you made as well this week about this.
Yes, hi everyone. Welcome to the LIghtbringers Podcast. I'm Kroof. I do a plethora of content over on my YouTube channel, mostly directed at Guild Wars 2, but I'm hopefully going to be branching out into some other MMOs, particularly Final Fantasy XIV sometime soon. So if you are interested in that, head on over to the YouTube. I also stream here on Twitch during the weekends. We've been playing some Baldur's Gate 3, some Final Fantasy, and of course, the lovely GW2. So thank y'all for being here. Appreciate you. Welcome. Yeah. Slay. I'm going to stop talking now.
Thank you very
so
much.
good.
Go and check out Kroof's Truth.
Come
The
check
Truth
out my
Kroof.
truth.
The
You
Kroof
can follow
Truth.
my
Truth in
truth.
the Kroofin,
Oh
yeah.
my god, that could be a new video series. Kroof's
Yeah.
Truths.
Yeah, I get like really wasted and I just like answer questions that people have.
About
React to the
anything.
news, that would be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like drunk history, but like drunk history of myself.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fair. That
My
sounds
God, I
good.
used to watch My Drunk Kitchen. Did anyone else watch My Drunk Kitchen? That was so good.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
Blast in the past. Sorry, were you saying, Jebro? Are we doing a podcast today?
Fornax, yes. Tell us what you do, where you do it.
Yeah.
And about your
hey.
future video that you have not made yet.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I'm Fornax, the Crichton Herald. I have a button for that. And I make content over on YouTube. And I keep promising to make some here, which eventually I will do. And I've got a video out at the moment. I've been cheating on Guild Wars 2, and I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV. Naughty me. And yeah, so it's over there. There's a big review of Dawn Trail, looking back at kind of the whole story of 14 and how it compares to Dawn Trail and stuff like that. It's
Ooh.
a huge amount of comments and stuff on it, which is really engaging with the community. It's been really great fun. And in this weekend, now that I am fully rested after 12 hours of sleep, which is what my Garmin told me I had, holy shirt balls, I'm going to be making a video about the topic that we're having here, and I'm going to do a deep dive into the lore. So yeah, that's me. Thank you very much for having me.
Uh-oh, you're very welcome. Glad you're here again. And I'm Jebro. Twitch.tv/JebroUni is where I do a bit of streaming, but youtube.com/JebroUni as well, where we post this very podcast and also have a ton of content on when there's news coming out about the expansion. It's going to be out. I don't touch much of the story in content creation because because we have wonderful crew from Fornax, so I'll always forward you to them in terms of that. Doesn't mean that I'm very interested in the PvE stuff, and I love it. Highlight of my recent Guild Wars 2 adventures has been getting the free garden plot that you can get in the game, which is wicked, which not many people knew about apparently. And you go through a whole story of cooking in various like locations and cities, and you get you unlock a red brick? No, what is it called? What's the red bricks called? The something dust bricks.
Bloodstone
brick furnace for your home instance, as well as getting you get 20 levels of cooking experience. You get loads of stuff. You get some really, really cool stuff. You also get a salvager to salvage food you've made, so you can salvage food. It's wild. It's so cool, and I never knew it existed. Because Guild Wars 2 hide half their content behind random achievements you'll never find. So,
I've actually never heard of this quest line.
It's called Gourmet. It's called Gourmet.
Is this new?
No. It came out ages ago. So what you could do was you could originally buy free garden plots for your home instance. And now you can only buy 2. And the other one is one you can unlock for free.
Damn. I never knew.
It's about a 2.5 hours, 3 hours-ish max. Really, really, really fun. And I got a bunch of creators doing it as well. I'll be going to streams and I found this achievement because of you. I was like, cool. Loads of people have done it. But I posted about it. It's really, really good. It's worth doing. So because of homesteads, I'm trying to unlock all of the nodes. So that's been my primary content for Guild Wars 2 when I'm streaming. It's been really, really fun. It's a really good one. So if you want to get a free garden plot, do that. It's called Gourmet. It's not that obvious. The unlocking of it is actually in the achievement, the little blocks that you get itself, but you have to unlock each section, and it's not one of the typical kind of unlocks on the left, which is why people probably skip it, which kind of sucks, but hey ho. Anyway, it's good. Good. I'm getting prepped and ready for flipping homesteads. But yeah, also you can check out the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, all the things where you listen to the podcast. Make sure if you can rate it, you do that. Massively appreciate it. Otherwise, we're going to jump straight in with, pardon me, the first real Janthir WIlds kind of news we've had in a couple of weeks. Because we had the 4th of July, it's been a while actually, since maybe in the Spear beta, which wasn't that long ago, it was about 2 weeks. But this is called The Bare Necessities, a peek at the Lowland Kodan and the story of Janthir WIlds. I'm just going to do the first section because it's shorter, and then Criff can do the next one, if you want to do that.
Sure. I thought it would have been funny if the title was a peek, P-E-A-K, at the Lowland Kodan.
That's true, yeah. They missed the opportunity.
That would have been a bit funny.
That's true. You
may continue.
That's why they need to employ you, Han.
I'm just there for the comedic, little punny
right.
inserts.
And Kiba, yes, I see you're talking about I don't normally look at the chat and respond too much because this goes out everywhere, but there were some changes for PvP which were quite significant in World. We're not really going to go into them too much, but we might mention towards the end. They were pretty big. There were some fun extra things that came in, more Tournament of Legends and all this kind of stuff. So, but this one's mostly about story. And World v World scoring has changed a lot as well, which looks very interesting. So that's kind of cool. Okay, I'm gonna start
more or
this.
less damage tickets. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah,
Ignore that question.
I can't remember actually. They probably added them. I don't know. I didn't check out the whole thing. There was a lot of charts and stuff, and I got bored, so I stopped watching. I was just I just want the information. What's changed?
I did see those charts, and I was kind of lost.
It was overwhelming, yeah. They should just make.
Hey,
I don't know.
I like charts, but I don't really play World versus World, so I was kind of just lost. But
yeah, they need to deliver that in a bit of a different way, I think. Okay. Hey there, this is Indigo. I'm not Indigo. The Guild Wars 2 Janthir WIlds narrative lead and Chloe, the expansion's story design lead. Oh crap, Chloe's. Okay, nice. That's awesome. We'd love to walk you through a high-level look at the Guild Wars 2 Janthir WIlds story to help set the stage for the launch next month. Oh my god, it's next month. Jesus.
It is.
What?
Yeah.
It's in like, wait, let me see. 1, 2, 3.
8 days, it'll be in a month.
It's 5.5 weeks away.
Dun dun dun.
What? That's so wild. I can't believe that. That's actually ridiculous. I'm going to book that week off and just play Guild Wars 2. I'm so
Ooh,
high.
not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
I'm going to book that week off. Sorry, clients. Guild Wars 2. I need a
I'll
rest.
just request that Tuesday off, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. The story of Guild Wars 2 Janthir WIlds is a treasure trove of intrigue and lore, both past and present. And we'll be encountering a variety of enemies and allies, those words are around a different way, as we venture into the long-awaited region of Janthir. We'll be picking right up where Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure left off. Let's dive in. Please note, light spoilers ahead. We'll be teasing a little bit about the region and current affairs surrounding the start of the expansion. So if you'd rather go in totally unspoiled, you'd best skip this one. So if you don't want to know anything about the expansion whatsoever in terms of story, it's best to do one right now. Leave. Go away. You are officially in spoiler land. Well, not spoiler. It's not spoiler land.
But
it's
like, you're here already, so like you might as well just like stick around, you know what I mean?
true. And if you're watching this stream live, or if you're on YouTube, etc., you can see a picture on screen with 2 small deer, or whatever the flip they are, and some rocks.
No, you're right.
Oh yeah, Bambi. Soon to go to the slaughter.
Bambi's mom.
Wow.
Bambi and Bambi's mum in Janthir WIlds. Featuring Kroof reading now, Bridge Guild Wars 2, Secrets of the Obscure.
I'll bridge it for you, you got it. So we have Bridging Guild Wars 2, Secrets of the Obscure. To get things going, let's look back at last year. Following the end of the Dragon Cycle, Tyria had no idea what the ramifications would be. As we learned in Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, Suwon's death caused a powerful blast of magical instability that fractured all sorts of magical forces and barriers within Tyria. Aurene immediately went to work re-establishing herself as a filter for those magics, and stability was quickly restored. But we've only just begun to understand the consequences of that transfer of power. Right at the onset of Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, the commander was thrown into uncharted territory. We learned that the World Spire, a powerful conduit forged by the wizard Isgarin, was fractured following the blast. The spire was one of the few barriers sitting between us and potential calamity, and it only took a moment for the denizens of a parallel realm to worm their way in. And thus, the commander was introduced to the long-fraught war between the Astral Ward and the Cryptus. Through the story of Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, the commander aids the Astral Ward in rescuing the wizard's court while toppling the malevolent Cryptus king, Eparch. While the fight against the Cryptus was won, there are a lot of stories left to be told about our wizardly new friends. The Astral Ward has proven to be a worthy ally with a benign cause, but we've barely touched the surface of some of their more questionable choices, not to mention their cantankerous leader, Isgarin. We know they helped in some ways, but why didn't they get involved sooner? Where do we even start with the Fractal fiasco?
Can we stop there?
Yeah.
And have a little bit of a chat, and then you can continue afterwards. There were some things I was thinking about there. I like the friends in quotations. As a little bit of a hint towards the future. Is there any thoughts about this, like friends, and we're talking about Isgarin, and because he's a bit of a cheeky lad, but let's say, to the, that's the beginning of it, I guess. Is there any thoughts or theories or ideas?
I actually feel like the Wayfinder, well, just for the sake that we were granted the title of Wayfinder, I feel like overall, we really are friends with the Astral Ward and the Wizards. I mean, everyone seems to like and respect us. The only person, the only character that would really fall under that quotation of like, are they really our friends, would be Isgarin.
Mm-hmm. True. I feel like everyone else is fairly genuine-ish-esque, maybe, mostly. Crown Herald?
Yeah.
Fornax, what do you think?
Gee. Yeah.
Crown Herald has many thoughts.
I say that all
Oh my
the
goodness!
time.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
You've been muted this whole time, by the way. Just in case you've ever been trying to talk, yeah, we can hear you now.
Shut balls. Sorry about that. So I think one of the most interesting things about Secrets of the Obscure going into it was the fact that everyone wasn't on our side and we had to win people over.
Yeah.
And I liked that because we have been quite a catalyst for change and quite violent change at that. So I really like that. And I think that I like the fact that Isgarin isn't actually really necessarily well liked within the Wizard's Court or the Astral Ward. He is very much put a great distance between himself and everybody else, and you see everyone kind of twisting and bending to conform to his wishes. He kind of took on the role of a cantankerous leader, but very much like a statesman that like you would see in the real world. So in international politics, it's nothing to do with morality. If you've ever looked at any of it, you can see that it's all about power plays, and that is who he is. That kind of power at any cost. The means justify the ends. The ends justify the means, and that's who he is. And I think that we might come into conflict with him because I feel like the commander is much more a moral being, and we do things for the right reasons. And I think that he is very much he's just a straight power broker. So I like that. I feel like we're going to have conflict with him, and I think that going forward, I think we're going to see characters like Waking Sorrow come into it because she left because of him. That was the inference if you look through all the writings. So I think, especially with a Lowland Kodan, I think she must have been a Lowland Kodan, and I'm thinking that we're going to see her come into the story.
That would be great to see, actually.
That is cool.
Yeah, I think Isgarin can present a lot of conflict in the story in terms of a political diplomacy, especially when we are, as I mentioned later in this, we're going to be interacting with more than just the wizards in this expansion. We're going to be touching base with Tyria and how Isgarin is going to interact with everyone else and the other leaders. It could be exciting to see in terms of the way that he conducts himself in a very straightforward, realistic sense of like, this is good or this is the threat, we need to conquer it no matter what. And he's very self-interested.
I feel like he sees himself as the de facto ruler of this place, as this grand protector, like the Lord Protector of Tyria. And I think that he's going to rub up against all the leaders in a very bombastic fashion. I think he's going to have a very, hopefully, cinematically rendered grand entrance onto the political scene and really kind of chafe a lot of people's balls. Yeah, I think so.
Thank you for it. Delivered in the only way that you can, and the most unique way you can. Not the only way you can, sorry, in your unique way. This part here, where do we even start with the fractal fiasco, is like a major thing. Like, it's so unethical. It's so unethical, especially when you think about like the commander and like the way he operates in terms of just trying to be generally good. Like, they kind of created people and put them through these situations all the time, and they just live in like infinite awfulness. And most of the time, if you think about it, they're always fighting and always like playing out different situations. And I'm like, yeah, that wasn't really addressed at all. Really much, other than by, I think, when the commander was doing those missions and you had Paver kind of talking about it a little bit with them. I think I don't think it was much to it, but other than, I'm not sure there was much talked about in terms of that. But
yeah, the fractals are a really fun story to go down. Maybe not in terms of jumping from fractals to fractals, but the idea of fractals and those fractal scenarios being brought into the real world now, and what that means. I don't know if there's a lot to get into that in terms of an entire expansion, but in terms of a topic to cover, I like that. It was really cool that they introduced that.
I mean, does Tyria have a version of The Hague? That would be a question to be having. And is Garen be thrown in it as a war criminal for? I mean, just look at the state of what is it? New Kayang City, where they've just genocided all the human beings. I mean, shit got real, dude. Like, holy shit!
It's like
balls.
Terminator, basically.
Yeah.
It is strange.
And these are real people. I mean, and there's like a whiff of.
How would he be punished? Because in a way, it's almost like a Matrix, where the people in those fractals only knew that. And it's only really when they come out into the quote-unquote real world do they understand the totality of the immorality of doing that. So is it like, it was like a Matrix, and everything's fine if you just know your life as the Matrix, but then once you go out of it, so like how would that punishment or that reaction go?
I think because we're not allowed to grow real people and keep them in labs, right?
They technically only became real when they entered our world.
I mean, but they're permanent. They're existing like always in this. I think it's different, isn't it? Like it's a fractal, but it's an island which exists in a map.
Discourse comes in because it's not so straightforward. It's not like we birthed people and then forced them to do this. It's like they were created in an experiment bubble, and they only knew that so that they were serving their purpose. But now, I guess they have full.
Beings. They're always sentient beings.
Yeah. And it's like AI versus, but it's kind of like AI. How were they created? What's the process of that? So they could go down some really interesting like philosophical roads depending on how much lore they really want to give those fractal people and those fractal denizens.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. It's interesting because this comes up in Dawn Trail as well. This idea. Ooh. And I was arguing that I don't know where the line of sentience lays. I don't know where it lays in this narrative setting. I don't know where it lays in the reality that we are all sharing at this very moment in time. So, I would always want to err on the side of caution as to be respectful of entities who appear to be sentient, because that's the moral thing to do, I think. And so I think that and the excuse, I never bought the excuse in The Secrets of the Obscure that he was playing through different scenarios in order to protect Tyria. Because if ever he was going to protect Tyria, it would have been from us, as we're systematically murdering dragons and destabilizing the whole system. And he never lifted a finger.
Wasn't it? Sounds like a cope.
It was
maybe he actually did play out those scenarios and he found that like this was the probable end and it wasn't that big of a threat because it would resolve itself. So maybe he did create a fractal out of the commander, and there's another commander out there. Can you
imagine if you found that, and then when it was like another expansion where you're fighting against another commander who's like commanding these forces, and it's you? Oh my god, that'd be sick! That would actually be flipping awesome. Anyway.
Difficult questions all make fun stories. Difficult questions make fun stories. So I'm happy for them to kind of skirt the edge of morality because it gives us a chance to examine weird questions like this that we wouldn't ordinarily do, and I like that.
Yeah. Really getting to like reflect on our own lives as well. And like
it's good when that happens. I do enjoy that. And Kreef, do you want to continue?
Yes. Time to pull us back to the present. While the commander, now the Wayfinder, was fighting back against Eparch and Nyos, the threat of the Cryptus didn't go unnoticed by the rest of Tyria. In fact, that threat was very much noticed, and nations started talking. At the start of Janthir WIlds, the commander will receive an invitation to the inaugural meeting of the Tyrian Alliance. And oh boy, do they have a lot of thoughts about our latest demonic invaders. After everything the world has endured, Tyria's patience with destruction is limited. While we want to keep some of the minutiae surrounding the Tyrian Alliance under our hats for now, including our lavish host of guest appearances, in addition to providing the player with a new directive, the Alliance also gives us the ability to demonstrate Tyria's growth outside of the main story path. What's happening in the rest of the world? How are things progressing when we're in the thick of adventure?
Ooh, okay. Interesting. So we've got Jenna and wait, who's on the left? What's her name again? In the picture.
Countess Anise.
Ah, yes. Okay, cool. Who else are we going to see, do you think?
There was another screenshot where Bram was there and Isgarin was like in the foreground. So Isgarin will show up at this meeting.
Wait, where is that?
I think it was on the launcher or the base media reveal in like the website.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So
I mean, I think we're going to see a return of all the general leaders. So we might see Newt Whitebeard. We might see the Pale Tree. Although we've never really resolved the shit. I've just broke a pen. We've never really resolved the issue of her being a dragon champion and not telling everybody about the fact that her children were about to be in grave danger of turning on the rest of the population. That's never been kind of dealt with from Heart of Thorns. So it would be interesting to see if there's any kind of ramifications from that as well. If this is the first World Summit where all the leaders are getting back together again after the actions of the Dragon Cycle, it would be nice. It would be nice if there was a nod to that as well in the lore.
like an undead Trahearn as well. That'd be cool.
I pinged you a picture in our group chat.
Cool.
And interesting, Ayumi is there. Ooh. So we have some Canthan representation.
Oh, nice.
That's the guild building.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's the old guild building.
That's where you go to set up your guild hall thing in Lion's Ark. Yeah.
Oh, there's what's his name from? Oh, they've got a lot of like. Okay. Oh, he's got to move. Who's the Asura there? You mean?
I was also wondering that.
I love how they've got this Asura like behind the plinth, and they've like just like they're just hidden.
See.
Yeah, it's so intentional. I feel like, or it's just like hilarious. Who's the guy on the far right as well? They're behind. Wait, Bram's behind them, so it's a non-representative of maybe because Bram's behind them.
Whitebeard. Yeah.
We'll have to find out when Janthir WIlds launches next month.
Let's see if we can.
There's also a Tengu representative, so we might be getting some hint at the Dominion of Winds.
Well,
maybe.
the Tengu representative, like that Tengu person, is standing to the side. Like, you know how? Do you see? So Jenna's here, and then Anise is there on the left as like a. So
I have a feeling it's Kestrel representation because I think that is Ayumi's model.
Yeah,
so I think Cantha having would we see oh my god, what's her name? The Queen of Cantha.
Oh,
I forgot her name. June's sister.
Someone Google it. I can't.
Empress of Cantha.
Empress is it?
In?
Yeah.
Is it in?
In. Yes.
Yes.
Empress in. Yes.
Okay. Maybe.
With an H. I'll put that in the chat so that everyone can decide how to pronounce it, because I don't actually think that we ever actually heard anybody pronounce that name. I don't think.
Empress in. There you go. In as in in. We have an official arena confirmation.
Awesome.
From a legend.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. I mean, there's so many threads that they could pull. There's so many narrative kind of rabbit holes that they could go down. And as we're going into Janthir WIlds, it could bring back Kanak to the story in a meaningful capacity, because he actually ventured to the Janthir WIlds in pursuit of Cordicus. So we could see some remnants of the White Mantle there as well.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, bring back Kanak.
During Season 3, he ventured to Janthir, but it was never really like explained what happened in there.
No.
Maybe we get to witness a little bit of that.
There's also like an unpulled thread from the original campaign. So Sol D'Alessio went to the Isles of Janthir and came back with the eye. Okay, but no other information was given about that. And we saw the eye in the throne room of Eparch, of the Midnight King, and so we don't know whether it's a representation of the Masat or it's a representation of the entities, the beings, the people who live in the Janthir WIlds. Like, certainly not the Lowland Kodan. They seem far more pastoral in their aspirations rather than wielders of great arcane magic or torturers of other people. That doesn't seem to be their vibe.
Ooh, who knows though? Maybe, you never know. There's going to be some baddies.
Torturous bears.
You're going into some soft, really like cute Kodan home, and then all of a sudden there's just a dungeon of death and destruction and torture.
Some white mantle Kodan. They're like, you skinned us and put us on your floors, now we skin you.
Oh no, they just have like, oh god.
Human rugs.
Human rugs. I might have to rate this 18.
I mean, hey, we had Joker had that pyramid of torture.
That's true. That's true.
So we all know what was happening. He had a torture room.
That's true. And we do have the torture room underneath in the raid, Wing 4.
Bastion
of the Penitent.
Bastion of the Penitent,
when you kill, what's his name? Deimos?
Deimos.
You go and there's the torture room in there. There's a lot of stuff. Can't you get one of those things as like a... Can't you get one of those things as like a actual furnishing for your guild hall? Can't you get like a torture rack or something? I'm pretty sure.
Now coming to homesteads. It's just like little like the red room in 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay, Fornax has already thought about the safe word.
I was thinking about was Palawa Joko having lots of versions of us in various states of torture about the instance, if you remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just imagine him batting his bacon to that, can't you? He's a terrible man.
I love that you described it as bacon.
Thank you.
Crispy charred bacon.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know. Yeah, I really didn't want that image in my head. Thanks. It's there.
You're welcome.
It's really there now.
It's friendship.
But yes, we have confirmation of a new political structure known as the Tyrian Alliance, which we've had the Pact before. We've had the three, like Vigil, Whispers, and Priory. I don't think we've ever had the Tyrian Alliance, which is now going to be like
another group
joint
of
effort. Another group of the leaders, I imagine. It's probably more so high level for all the races and their leaderships, because they all still have to contest with their own public affairs and their like domestic issues, like with bandits and Centaur and like the Inquest and whatnot. So
Tyrion's growth outside of the main story path, what do you think that could be about? Like, are we talking about like relations between races? Are we talking about commerce? Like, what could you think could be the Tyrion's growth outside of the main story path, like while we've been away? Is there anything there the way you're like, oh, I wonder if this happened, I wonder if that happened? Or
I mean, I think it's going to be the concept. Well, I think that there's a lot of things that should have happened at the end of the dragon cycle.
Sure.
So for example, we've seen that the human gods are gone. So I think that there would be a huge rise in the cult of the dragon. So we would have a whole group of people pledging allegiance to Aurene, the whole surgence of that kind of cult coming forward, because she's literally the savior of everything, right? So I think that would be reflected in every place on the planet. And also people like pushing against that, because that's the juxtaposition of society. And I also think that with the rise of, the invasion of the cryptus, you're going to have a lot of people who have been affected by that. So there's going to be loss, there's going to be destruction in the various regions about the world. So I really hope that they use some sort of clever phasing technology in order to give us different different versions of places that we know depending on where we are in the story. So if you have played through everything and you played through the Cryptid invasion, then when you go to Divinity's Reach, you see that the world has literally changed, and statues brought down of the old gods, and Balthasar statues vandalized, and people having different conversations because the world has moved on. I would like to see that,
cool.
personally.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
That would be a nice touch. And especially like with the Crystal Bloom being an organization and Aurene now slumbering, I wonder what they're of course probably defending Aurene, but I feel like there's also more to tap into with the Crystal Bloom and Aurene's followers. And wouldn't they because we are her champion, so wouldn't they more so look to us as well in the time of her slumber? How does Kate get into all this? Because Kate is a part of this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Kate is huge, and she is actually the embodiment of that kind of cult. You would think she could be the de facto. She could have an interesting narrative as the de facto leader of that cult, and the whole kind of coalescing of power underneath that. That could be a nice bit of corrupting factor for her, and an interesting new path for her to take.
She kind of mimics Fowlin in a weird way, with Fowlin's leadership of the Nightmare Court, but now it's the Crystal Bloom. And how pretty and glitzy can it really all be if you're in that position of power?
Could she be leading more Sylvari, who seem very susceptible to that kind of elemental shift? Could she produce a new sort of species, a new section? Sorry.
How has Aurene's impact on
crystal
Kate
ones
affected the dream as well, if it has at all?
Interesting.
Because they do share that connected dream and that experience. So.
Oh, could we see
Sylvari allied races?
Sylvari? Well, no, that's what I was thinking. Could we get a crystal Sylvari from this? Because you wouldn't need to necessarily create a new starting area. You wouldn't need to necessarily. Once you hit 70, you can do a special quest line and you can become a crystal Sylvari. And once they could do it with the Char, couldn't they? So they could have Flame Legion Char. So you play through the Char storyline, you get to a certain level, you do a special storyline, and then you can become a Flame Legion Char and all the special effects of that. I think that would be awesome. It kind of circumvents the problems that they have with the narrative structure.
Damn. I asked a question. I did ask a question. Good.
And we provide answers.
I'm glad I'm asking the right questions. I mean, that's my job, so that's all right. Yeah, awesome. Anyone else you think is going to attend this meeting as well? I kind of want to see a few different characters maybe popping up.
Well, we do know that Malice, Sword Shadow, the leader of the Ash Legion for the Char, she will be in attendance with this expansion alongside Kaith. So I wonder how she in particular will come on board with us to this expansion, because she is not really a character that has had a lot of interactions with the Commander. She was in Icebrood Saga, but it's not like the Commander and Malice have a lot of shared history in that sense, and particularly being a part of the Ash Legion, definitely more secretive. However, with Janthir and the unconfirmed yet confirmed presence of the Titans, there is reason for Char to be existing in this expansion and to be a key player. But she's someone I'm really I'm going to be looking out to see how she is woven into this story, because it was a little bit of a jarring addition. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting you to be here.
What do you think that there is a potential danger? And this is they're saying there's going to be some guest appearances. So I don't think this is going to be they're not going to be in it for long potentially. But do you think, is there a worry here at all in this text that there might be a lot of characters being brought back or in this storyline already, where you're we kind of had this problem last time with Secrets of the Obscure, where there were a lot of people involved and we didn't get to fully flesh them out? Is there any kind of warning sign that might be happening again from this? And this is just a question, it's not what I think.
I don't know. I mean, I think it would be perfectly fine to have this big meeting and to have a lot of cameos in it. So they're there to deliver an interesting line. They're there to deliver a perspective from a different group of people, various groups represented. And I think that will be nice, as long as they have a nice, tight, packed, rich storyline for the people that are coming with us, and it's not, fucking Love Actually, then that will be absolutely fine. Sorry. And I actually, reading in the chat, people are talking about Livia. So Livia is another wayfinder. And I definitely think she is called away to the crown while we're doing the prologue. So definitely look out for Livia. Great character. If you haven't played through her little story beats in the living world, you definitely should. She is a sarcastic bitch, and I love her dearly. So yes, she's good. I will say that another character that I think might be coming up and that we might see and who might be more than just a cameo is Valletta. So Countess, quick story update. So Valletta, Lady Wee's daughter, the one who was with Cordicus. Yep. So she went to the White Mantle side. She aided Cordicus, but in the end, she turned on them when her friend was murdered by Cordicus. And yeah, okay. So I feel like she is going to have a similar arc to Canik. And I feel like because of her White Mantle connections and because she traveled everywhere with Cordicus, she was basically his portal bitch, then we will get to see her, and she might be a guide to a certain degree, exploring some of the White Mantle ruins that we've already seen in the trailers in Janthir WIlds.
It would be nice to have someone of the White Mantle come along with us and to get a little bit more of that personal understanding. Some knowledge that they might have, which we don't. But
I feel like that Mesmer name's already been taken. I feel like someone needs to test that out. Kent's gonna be the first one. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put us forward actually because I feel like there's a lot more, and I feel like there's gonna be a lot more coming out of this. But I'm gonna read this next section. Unless anyone had anything else they wanted to add.
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Sorry. So we have our motley crew that we've been hanging about with. So I think that we might see Jury and Cass coming out of the woodwork, and hopefully at some point in this, that everybody wants to see them get married. We need another one of those kisses. That was,
cool.
Peak. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Okay. Greater Janthir region. One of the results of this first Tyrian Alliance meeting will send the commander and a very small team of allies into the dangerous wilds of the Janthir region, lying due north of Divinity's Reach over the Crichton border. The initial focus of our mission is to establish a diplomatic connection with a small faction of Kodan. Okay, cool. The Lowlanders, while hesitant, welcome us into their village. Spend some time getting to know their culture as we explore the lowland shore, which we'll dig into a little bit more in a moment. So we do know exactly why they're going there. It's just to kind of, okay, is this like this is interesting. So it's like it's just to connect with a small faction of Kodan. It kind of seems like, is that a little bit like below? Like, I don't want to say that.
I don't think so. I think they are intentionally hiding why we're going there from us, because I don't think they would be like, you're just gonna go off and befriend some Kodan to like have them join the Tyrian Alliance. I think it's like, if Isgarin is in the meeting, I think he might float something, and even Livia is being called away back to the Crichton embassy.
It does leave a lot to the imagination of why, right?
So I think, they're going to drop some lore and a reason as to like there is some threat brewing here. And even in the trailer, we have Anise saying that there's a storm over Janthir. So I think we'll have to, before we get there, we have to establish some like safety net with the locals and be like, hey Kodan, we're here, we're vibing. What's the situation with this area? Give us tips.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I think it's fairly obvious what's gone down, to be honest. So Somebody clip this.
I honestly
so that
don't
you can prove
know.
what I'm wrong. Okay, so grand theory from this bitch. Okay, so at the start of the blog post, they talk about the barrier being damaged by the transition of power, right?
Sure.
And it shook the pillar of creation where Frank and all his tentacles hangs out. Sweet guy, lovely at the bar. Okay, and that happened with the Wizard's Court. But what about the Door of Kamale, where the holding back the Titans? So we've seen the Titans. Oh baby! So I think that the in the interim, or perhaps permanently weakening the barrier between the realm of torment and Tyria. And I think that the place where it was weakest was Janthir. And then we have an insurgence of Titans coming out. And this is the Titans, for anyone who doesn't know, they were part of the original prophecies story. And there's a huge lore video, like 3 lore videos on my channel if you want to deep dive into that shit. But basically, they came out when we opened the Door of Kamale, when we were manipulated to do so. And previously, the Char worshipped them as gods, but they were false gods. And in one of the videos, one Char points at them and goes, false gods. I mean, they're not exactly fucking hiding this behind a bushel. And I think that that's the threat. And I think that we could get the real Shadow army coming forward. We could get real Kanaksai, like levels of demonic shenanigans. And we could even get Menzies coming through to avenge the murder of his brother. And we could even get maybe a cameo from Abaddon, because,
That's a lot.
that is
That's a lot.
Desmina?
In one expansion?
Yeah.
I mean, this could lead to some god stuff if they are still tapping into like barriers and realms. So
be careful.
Yeah.
Maybe something like towards the end of the expansion, maybe like going into those realms. I mean, like it. Okay, that's.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's a lot. My brain is like.
Yeah.
And if they are doing expansions like every year, maybe it's just like a setup to.
Could be.
Not that this expansion is just going to be a setup. I think we will probably get into some juicy stuff, but
Yeah.
I think in terms of the trajectory of a storyline, like 3 expansions, like Secrets of the Obscure leading into this one, what might branch into the next one?
Yeah.
We're already thinking way ahead.
Abaddon in my homestead. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want Abaddon in my homestead.
There has to be some consequences to us killing Balthazar, and the dildo of consequence hardly ever comes lubed. So buckle up, bitches. It's gonna be a wild ride.
The what?
Oh god.
The what?
Please,
Was that a legendary sword that I missed?
Please, God.
What's that?
I am not
You
responsible.
blame my husband. He told me that phrase about 3 days ago, and I had to use it. I'm sorry.
The dildo of consequences?
Consequence rarely comes lubed.
It's okay, Sam. I'm going to allow that because that was a repeat of what they said.
that Hawk 2
That
or
was-
whatever they're saying.
No, don't talk about that. It's awful. God, no, not that thing. Oh, that thing is gross.
Oh my gosh. Poor lass.
That thing's awful.
Talk about
That
unintended
thing-
consequences.
Okay.
Moving along.
Moving along now. I don't know what my life means anymore. Actually, I am pretty much done. As in the podcast. I'm just gonna read the next part because I'm not sure what to do now. Partway through the story, we'll be pulled in further into Janthir. That's when we'll make our way into the Isles themselves. The bay is rich with history, blood. Oh, sorry, history, bloody, brutal fun and history.
Just slaughter.
Full of blood. That's the torture dungeon. That's where the blood is. And we've never strayed too close until now. We know that Saul and his fledgling Wine Mantle went to the Isles in search of something, leaving with an eye of Janthir. We also know that other conspicuous figures have ventured into the region too. On the first island, we reach Janthir Sintry, we'll begin to unravel the tragic history behind the ruined village of Gavril. So that's a good spot to pause, because most importantly, bears. Yay.
Oh, I thought you were like making a decision, but I forgot you kept reading.
I was reading some, yeah.
I thought you were just saying it's good to pause. Pause, bear pause. There's so many pun
my
opportunities
God!
in this damn article.
Good job. That was a good one. Damn it. That was true. Who's failing? What's going on? Who's failing it? Where is the pun person?
Anyways,
They're normally one that's good. They're normally on this. I think we're just finding them ourselves. Maybe they've developed our
maybe
pun
it's
skills.
like we're like little kids at T-ball and they're teeing it up for us, and it's just up to us just to hit that half a home run. But I just want to say, I was shocked that they even gave us the name of the first island that we're going to.
Sure.
That seems like something they really don't do often. The last time I remember getting so much like lore out of a marketing junket for an expansion, it was probably Heart of Thorns, when they actually went into each of the regions and talked about the commanders and stuff, and I loved that because I really enjoy getting a little bit of a baseline in terms of names, so that I don't feel completely like overwhelmed like in Secrets of the Obscure when you get introduced to like 15 characters and you're like, who are you again? So I like, and I'm really surprised that they gave us the name of Janthir Sentry and the village of Gavril, and I'm excited now. Even the name itself, I'm like, okay, so each island has its own name. So there's settlements that have been established in these. Okay.
And this is a ruined village. There's no one living there right now. So are you landing here and this is the first thing and there's just like a ruin and then like...
I mean, it could just be a consequence of the Titans. This could be...
Or Soul.
This could
unlike
be
this
down
time.
zero.
Or is it like the White Mantle and stuff from before? That's why they're linking it, maybe?
Maybe.
Do you think we're going to see some of the impact that Saul and the White Mantle had on this region? With when
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
taking the eye? Okay.
Yeah. We see some ruins in one of the trailers, so...
Can you link the trailer
really
in the
did
Discord
shit.
for me, if that's okay? And then I'll play it maybe in the background as we go a little bit. Because I can't remember
I
where
got
it is.
you.
I guess, is it just on the YouTube? Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, it's just on
Interesting.
YouTube.
I shall link for you now. Oh, holy shit, Buzz. There's so many videos. Oh, you're much quicker than I am, Crew.
I got it.
There's just an ocean of spear videos, so that's fine.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm really excited to get into the history of the White Mantle's activities in Janthir and also the Mersat, and seeing how it has transformed the area, because I'm wondering that I doubt, well, they say village of Gavril and it's been destroyed. For how long? Are there actual natives in this region that are like humanoid, like White Mantle, like fringe White Mantle sympathizers who are still there? We do know that the Astral Ward have set up shop there, at least to survey and, you know,
Sure.
keep a vigil over the land.
All right, this is what this was. We were talking about this last time, right?
Yeah.
If you can see, sorry, there's if you're not watching this and you're listening, there is a structure. Do we know what this is called? I can't remember. I don't think so, right? Or do we? No.
They don't give us the
It's
name
just
of this
Master Ward
structure.
outpost.
It's
isn't it?
definitely because
Yeah.
we worked it because there's the archway and then there's the symbols over the top and the
The
galaxy
chains are a good callback.
If I recall, I think that originally the Wizard's Tower, the actual Wizard's Tower, not the representation that we saw interior, was actually hovering over Janthir before the expansion and the adventures that we had with the Wizard's Court. So there has to be some reason why they were there, you know. And that might be linked to Isgarin. So it could purely be that something that's happened with the Wizard's Court and something that's happened with the barrier that brings us there, probably the Titans. And Isgarin is bringing this to the attention of the Tyrian Alliance in light of the demonic invasion. That would make like a narrative sense. And it also answers the question of, is he going to reveal the Wizard's Court and the Astral Ward to the greater world? And doing so at this meeting would mean that at least the people who are making decisions on a national scale at least are aware of the existence of the court, if they weren't already.
Sorry, Homesteads came up on the screen. I was just like,
it's fine.
I can't wait to play Homesteads. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think Isgarin and the Astral Ward are still going to be major players in this expansion in terms of allowing that conflict to smoothly ride throughout this expansion.
Undead Soul? No?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I'm just like anyone from the past that's dead. Like, you know, I'm just like Undead Traherne, Undead Soul, Undead, anyone.
Undead Traherne. Let him rest.
Undead Air.
Let him rest.
Undead Air. Can you imagine it? I can. It would be a good time. No.
I feel like she would be so pissed. She'd be like,
be.
I've been dead. I already came back as a spirit. I already talked to my kid. Like, let me just go to sleep. Damn it. I was fighting a mist war, okay?
Saw from the past kept in a fractal. Oh my god, it's so, but it could be potentially too. Wrote Really Geek Pump. Undead Tybalt. Oh, that is sacrilege. That is awful. No.
Oh, now we're drawing the line.
Can't we have to draw the line somewhere? I think Tybalt deserves. If he came back because it was on a fractal or something, that would be okay. But like, we wouldn't be back because it wouldn't be like the Tybalt, but it would be a version of him. Oh my god, that was so cool.
That seems pretty immoral, Jebro. Like,
I know.
he's as equal as the original Tybalt as anyone, you know.
It's true. Grief, do you want to read the next bit? Lowland Kodan?
No.
Okay.
That's good. I'll do it. Okay. The Lowland Kodan. One of the most exciting games. I'm just laughing at myself.
Excellent. You go.
Okay, I'm just gonna take two.
Take a breath, deep breath, like, you know.
The Lowland Kodan. One of the most exciting things to dig into has been our new faction of Lowland Kodan, who have called Janthir home for many generations. Despite the region being viciously dangerous, they are expert survivalists and have carved out a comfortable, even cozy way of life in these lands. All Lowlanders are capable fighters and learn survival tactics from the time they are cubs. The Wayfinder will spend much of their time in Janthir learning about and learning from the Lowlanders, as they have much to teach. As a population isolated from their northern Kodan cousins for so long and living in a much different environment, they're a little different than the Kodan we are familiar with. Perhaps the most notable difference lies in their spiritual belief system. Unlike other Kodan who revere the will and balance of Koda, the Lowland Kodan hold in reverence the environment, the relationship they maintain with it, and the responsibility that they have as stewards of the land. Rather than viewing themselves as enlightened protectors chosen by Koda, Lowlanders act out of a duty to maintain necessary balance in a harsh place where taking is easier than giving and survival can be difficult. These differences trickle down through other aspects of their society. Kodan leadership is typically a partnership between a spiritual mouthpiece of Koda, called a voice, and a physical protector, called a claw. However, the Lowland Kodan have a claw as their sole leader, a feature of their society that goes back as far as anyone can remember. The claw is not without balance, though. A council that represents key roles in the village lends the claw perspective and advice. As the Wayfinder spends more time with the Lowland Kodan and begins to earn their trust, we'll gain more glimpses into their lives and their history as denizens of Janthir.
That's interesting. The whole claw and as the protector and the what is it? What did they say? The protector, the claw, and the spiritual magic, the voice.
Council.
The voice. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Why they don't have that then? Why do you think they don't have the voice? Isn't that an interesting thing? Maybe they do it more as a voice as a clan, like as a clan rather than a person.
Do they have they moved away from Koda entirely?
Maybe.
Because the Claw is a very physical leader. It's like a physical representation of how to govern like a group or a society of Kodan. But they say that they've moved away from Koda and are more focused on the environment. So they're kind of like agnostic in a way, or atheistic in terms of like praising this spirit of Koda.
I always found Coda fascinating because they've never really kind of pulled on that thread. They've never unraveled it for us. Not even when we went to the far north and we had the fires and pushing back the kind of frozen army. We never really kind of dived into their religion and their religious beliefs, and it's something that I would be interested in because in Tyria, spirits are real entities. They're often extraplanar entities who are interacting with us, or entities from another realm who have come here to reside. I guess immigrant deities, I guess you could call them. That's exactly what the human gods were. So I'm wondering if the spirits of the wild too came from a different place. And I've always wondered whether Koda was a kind of a prime spirit of the wild because of the law connection with the Koda and the Norn. Maybe in exploring these like hench Kodan, we'll get to understand more Koda and why they've left it behind for a more egalitarian kind of equity in their society, having a council so that the strength is balanced and tempered by the needs of the people and the land. I mean, there might be just like an allegorical element to it, an Aesop's fables kind of thing, whether we are facing environmental collapse. So they might be wanting to kind of have a story about that because it's just reflective of the times that we live in, and it's something that's on everybody's mind all the time. Every time you turn on the news, you can't escape it, even if you want to. So a way of exploring that in a thoughtful manner. Sometimes this is why story is so important, because you can examine things that have been politicized in a way that strips them of that political leaning and that tribalism, and allows you to kind of look at things much more clearly, robbed of the bullshit and the talking points and all the rest of it. So sure. I feel maybe that's what they're doing with this.
I'm starting to get so much more interested in the backstory of these Lowlander Kodan, and were they originally like a part of the Northern Kodan, and then did they break off, or have these Kodan just naturally always existed in this area? Yeah. And with the situation with Koda, did they leave Koda behind, or did Koda abandon them? And how did they begin to balance and create this system? Was it out of necessity, or was it out of want?
Does it feel more
who
evolved?
Was the originator?
Does it feel more evolved though, Kroof, do you think?
I don't know if it's evolution or if it's just out of necessity, because I feel like with the
you could say that's evolution as well though, right?
I guess in terms of like, in my mind, it's not necessarily evolution in the terms of like progress forward. It's just a matter of what needed to be.
Yeah, that's what evolution is. To a point.
I think in terms of narrative, the connotation of evolution is like pushing forward. It's more so just maybe with the proximity of Janthir and the magical happenings with that. Were they broken off from Koda? Did Koda abandon them because of their proximity? I have so many more questions about the Lowland Kodan that I have now that I actually didn't have in like an hour ago. So. Yeah,
I think you go on.
No, after you, Han.
No. I was just going to say something unrelated. Go on.
I was going to say, I feel like every society, cultures evolve because of the environment that you're in. And it's the environment that you're in, actually the physical environment that you're in, and the limitations and stresses of that environment, and the social environment that you're in, and the needs. So scarcity breeds one type of society, abundance breeds another. So there will be an underlying cause to why their traditions have shifted, right? And that will hopefully be reflected heavily in the story, so that we understand and hopefully get further insights into Kodan culture more, because really we've only ever kind of like skirted along the ice of that, the very top, and I feel like there's an iceberg beneath us that the writers could have about Kodan, about the Norn, about the spirits, about all that. I feel like although we have tapped into it and we've had stories with them and we've understood their interactions with the dragons in response to the dragons, we've never actually understood how the spirits are here. Are they a part of the weave of this world? And we've never really dived into their story, and we've never really dived into the story of the Norn and their evolution and their abilities to kind of metamorphosize. And I personally am very interested in that, because I think that the Norn, especially the kind of the original archetypes that we had in the original franchises, they were very independent minded. They were very individualistic. They very rarely had, outside of like tribal groups, small tribal groups, they never really had a whole break before. So it's interesting. It would be interesting if we could meet some more indigenous Norn who have been excluded from some of the stresses of the Dragon Rising, to actually see what that culture looks like now through the modern lens of Guild Wars.
Jesus. I feel like you're gonna have to go back through this video and use some of these snippets in your lore stuffs. Good stuff. Damn. I don't think I have anything to add. I like listening to this. I'm like listening to the podcast like a listener this week. I'm just like, this is good stuff. Amazing. I do. I'll add one thing. Look at that awesome Warclaw on the left. It's really cool.
Kitty! Oh, it's so cute.
There you go.
They're very adorable without their saddles on.
I feel like they're very cool. There is a waypoint in the background as well, which is I think that is a waypoint as well, which is one of the Astral Wards waypoints.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because it looks like do you think the way that they've gotten to this area, gotten here, is because of the wizards? Like they've helped put you down here, or
well, they have an outpost there, so I feel like teleportation will kind of just be like a normal.
Yeah.
We'll just pop on over here.
Yeah. Okay.
Will they relocate the Wizard's Tower to over here? Is this gonna be like a Dalaran like shifting hub?
Don't know.
That would be interesting.
Would be interesting, but they don't tend to move stuff much, do they?
No.
I mean, this might sound old-fashioned, but I kind of miss the whole going through a portal into a new map and feeling that like it's more connected.
Rather than getting invited somewhere and then suddenly you're just like
on an airship.
Yeah.
Going across the entire continent.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Although I didn't hate how we got to the Crystal Desert. I thought that was rather cool. I thought that they did it rather well, because they did a cutscene with a sense of journey and travel, so that you had that sense of movement across the map.
Cutscene was so good.
Oh yeah.
The pyramid and the rocks.
Pyramid crumble.
Oh, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
A really strong start to Path of Fire.
Yeah.
I did like Path of Fire's story as well. It was very good. Okay, I'm gonna go through heading north to Janthir. The inhabitants of Tyria are on the cusp of a new era. Interesting. American and English mix there of the word. It's time for nations to ally and work together on a more global scale. Those seeds of alliance were planted under the threat of the Elder Dragons, but the need did not end with the Elder Dragons. As new threats rise, it's good to have friends on your side. What better place to start than the people living next door? The Lowland Kodan might prove to be valuable allies if we can earn their trust, and convince them it's worthwhile to join the global conversation. Interesting. insinuates that they're quite important, like in terms of size. Are they quite significant, maybe, in this region? They hold like power. I didn't want that to sound quite so shitty.
Quite significant.
But like, you know, in terms of like, you know, because most people who, when they seek out allies, they're like really powerful. I don't think that's necessarily true for all of Guild Wars 2 though. We're excited to be able to give you some first looks at the narrative of Guild Wars 2 Janthir WIlds. There is so much fun existing lore and history to dig into and build upon with new stories and characters. We can't wait for you to experience it all. Oh, we did get to the end. Oh, okay. Oh, damn. Fair. Cool. Any thoughts there? Heading north? I don't know. I don't think there's anything.
I'm excited to go north.
Yeah. I'm talking about.
You're not from the north. From Manchester. That's not north.
Oh my god.
So,
I'm not from Manchester.
you're not from Manchester. Oh no,
Man-
which
No.
Manchester.
I'm from London. What the hell?
from London. Oh, okay. I thought you were from Manchester.
I've
Sorry.
got like, I don't even know an accent from Manchester.
I'm from
sorry,
Manchester.
forgive me.
I don't know what that.
Oh,
That's
right,
actually
yeah.
better. That's
not
actually not bad.
Yes, that's much.
Oh, okay. Maybe I
Wow.
am from Manchester.
Fornax is a failure.
I'm
Didn't even know
really
I'm from
bad with
London.
that.
Amazing. I'm wondering if I can
I'm
find
so
a room.
sorry. Please forgive me. I was going to say actually about the thing that we were supposed to be talking about.
Go on then.
I think that even so, we as a person, we've never been to Janthir WIlds, and I feel like generally people haven't travelled there. I feel like it's an unknown region. So even for their ability to traverse the area, to know the lay of the land, the pitfalls, the dangers that are unique to Janthir WIlds, that even just that basic kind of mundane knowledge would be something extremely valuable when you know, having an expedition and in search of something. It's one thing to fly over a place, but if you have to go there to find something or to combat something, and you need to know the theater of battle that you're dealing with. So where to face the Titans, where not to face the Titans, where are the strongholds, where can we put troops? There's kind of like lots of logistical, practical communication aspects to it. If you were trying to kind of muster a military campaign, that kind of on the ground knowledge and understanding of locals is something that is utilized to this day. Even with all our satellites and modern technology and everything else, you can't beat a person who's lived there for 30 years who knows the ins and outs of the place. So I feel like even if that's the only thing that they contribute to as a guide to us, I think that would be something worthy of an alliance. And you don't know what magics they have.
True.
You know? So yeah.
General excitement for story times, that like as the, because you know, like Fornax, you're a big lore head, as you've clearly demonstrated once again, where I'm like, what? Most of the time, and I'm like, good, I have to go and read up on stuff. I love stories, I love the story in Guild Wars 2, but remembering all the things is hard, unless like I show major interest in that specific thing, and like it's not the main thing I enjoy the most in Guild Wars 2. There's loads of other stuff which I know and I'm very knowledgeable about, but the story and remembering it is hard. So I like, and Kroof is obviously the same. Like, you love the story, you know a lot about the game as well in terms of that region of things. Like, not discounting what you know as well. Like, equally as interested. Like, but how do you both
you
feel?
can discount it.
Yeah, sure.
It's 50% off. I'm very affordable.
Amazing. Oh, I was gonna say something. But also
Say it. Say it with your chest.
no,
Do it.
I can't. I just can't. Are you both pretty excited just by the snippets that we saw about the potential story and the arcs and avenues that we'll be going down with the Janthir WIlds expansion so far?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I am. I'm actually so much more excited now that I've actually had the opportunity to talk about it with all of you today.
Yeah.
Because reading it myself, I'm like, oh, I'm excited about this, but then when you get into a conversation about something, your brain starts to spiral and snowball into other ideas and, you know, theories. So this has been a very enjoyable podcast.
This has been a very enjoyable podcast. Like, Chris doesn't enjoy the others, everyone.
Some of the others have been hit or miss, but really like this one.
Yeah, the ones with boots. Yeah. Sorry. That was a joke.
Jesus.
I love boots.
God.
Boots
Just catching strays. He's not even here.
Boots is my man. Yeah, no, I don't think there's really any other podcast that goes through the blog posts like we do. Like I love going through them.
Only ones.
We're the best. Well, I haven't really experienced it myself, but one of the reasons is because I end up missing things, so I want to go through it, and obviously I didn't read it, so that helps. But like I like going through it in terms and asking questions about it and how people, what they kind of garner from things as well, like interpretation and everything else. It's always interesting to be like, oh yeah, it could be that. That's cool. Rather than like you're just getting this, and this is exactly what you're getting. I like this kind of. It is kind of like a tease blog post about the story, which is kind of cool. Fornex. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Are you sure?
You okay? Look, I'm still a bit tender from Naos.
Okay, well, don't forget Naos. Forget Naos.
We can't. It's the realm of dreams, and it haunts our dreams. Too soon.
Are you like? How are you feeling about? Well, interesting. Then compare. Like, how do you feel about this, knowing what you know at the moment, compared to maybe Heart of Lipscale? Thingamajig. Heart of Lipscale. No, don't think about that. Don't think about that.
Ask a question, sir.
That was the question. That's why. Like, how are you feeling about these snippets that we've seen? Are you happy? Are you excited?
I think that they have a huge amount of great story and lore to pull on. I think there are so many mysteries in history. I think there are so many great. I think the community responded really well to the White Mantle storylines, and I think they really enjoyed playing through the White Mantle storylines. And I think it was one of the high points, especially the Living World seasons. I think they really knocked those out of the park. So I thought that was good. If they go down that line, it's good.
Yeah.
But I'm just scared. I don't know.
It's okay.
I don't know how many mediocre expansions the community will weather, right? There's real. I love this, but I'm worried because I care about the game, right? And I care about the people who write it. So I really, really want them to really knock this one out of the park. And that means that they're going to have to bring more cutscenes. They're going to have to give the characters more time to kind of grow and develop. They're going to have to be more focused and use their resources better. And they're going to have to integrate map and story if they have an economy and they can't afford to have. Because I don't think that they can afford to have one story happening on the map and another story happening with us. I don't think that they have enough resources to do that. So they have to put their hands together in order to give a coherent tale.
Now,
and I think that they have to give more diversity in gameplay as well.
That's fair.
Because I think that was a bit shit.
No, the unfortunate thing is...
It was repetitive.
Yeah, of course. Now, the unfortunate thing is that may not be fixed in this expansion.
I think it will. I don't think everything will be fixed, but I think there will be improvements from what we saw.
They would have been working. I think they'll definitely have and will, but also the fact that this was way into production by the time we got our hands on it, like the last expansion, it will be a thing. So I think if they haven't fixed everything and they haven't changed everything, we should maybe get I would say the expansion after this, if they haven't taken on board everything, is because they already got so far into production of this that they couldn't really take back because they've only got a certain amount of time, right? My expectation is that they address a lot, but not everything.
But I think that the core expansion was very well received. So I'm imagining that this core expansion, in terms of the amount of time that they're allowed to work on the core expansion, will still prove to be a very enjoyable experience. the issues kind of came with the mid-expansion patches, and by that time I feel like they had started to get feedback on that front. And I think even while developing it, they probably realized that this scope particularly was way too broad and too wide and was not really able to be fulfilled on in the ways that it should have. So I imagine that this expansion will probably have a little bit more of a focused scope and a focused narrative in itself, but then also those post-expansion patches will as well. When it comes to things like repetitive gameplay elements or a lack of quest lines or side character development, I'm not sure on that front. That we'll have to wait to see about that. But in terms of scope, I'd like to believe that they realized it during development and also after development.
Yeah. I also hope that they go back to the kind of like the treasure box maps with lots of interesting hidden areas and interesting lore that you discover naturally as you're playing through. I really loved that with End of Dragons. Well, with all their maps, but End of Dragons really stands out for me because it had so many wonderful little secret areas that you could find, and it was like a puzzle box unlocking all the secrets of the map, and I really like that. Now, I think that they should be more signposted in terms of just like getting your first foot on the path of that puzzle box. Yes, you don't have to spoil the ending to get people into that type of content. Yeah. Because I didn't feel that. Naos felt like a very, very one-dimensional map, and I don't think any of us were used to that in Guild Wars, because Guild Wars maps have always been one of the main characters of the story, and I hope that there's a return to that. And, oh my God, I really hope that there are more cutscenes to deliver the story. If you don't have enough time to get it done, and you don't have enough scope to get it done in gameplay areas, you need to do it through cutscenes to actually like keep the emotional investment of the player. With a skip button for people who don't give a flying fudge.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. My one element of this blog post that I was a little sad to not see is that they didn't really touch on the antagonist of the story, the Titans, because they already have soft confirmed this in other articles. So I was expecting to get a little bit of a primer as to what the Titans are, just for players who might not have experienced Guild Wars 1.
Sure.
And it would also ground us as players a bit better as to who we're going to be fighting. Maybe not the whole entire high, like super detailed level of what we're going to be doing, who the big bad is, but at least a little bit of knowledge as to who we're going to be fighting and the threat that they pose to maybe the Kodan or the wizards there, just so that we can be like, oh, this is what we're gonna go do. Because this was very much just who we're going to be encountering, not necessarily what we are going to do.
I mean, I feel like if we are going to win over the Lowland Kodan, and they are so environmentally focused, it might be the environmental destruction that the Titans are rotting on the environment that will bridge our alliance with them, so that we can help them with a problem that they cannot overcome. That's the kind of like almost like an invasive species that we're going after. Yeah, and I think you always want to keep stuff close to your chest, but taking a past example for Heart of Thorns, where they did go into depth as to who the Mordrim were, and also they showed us the commanders for Mordremoth. Stave Master Adrian, Blade Master Diarmid, Axe Master. So they actually showed us those characters and gave us a little backstory off of them. So it would be nice if maybe in expansions we get a similar treatment for the villains, where we don't need to know every small detail or like a really lore-shattering bit of information, but just getting a bit of a familiarity with some of the maybe the named Titans who are like really presenting a huge threat that the Kodan have named, or seeing some screenshots of the different Titan models. Sure, that'd be nice, just so that we can get
or we might
not feel like we're just wandering into some place with no
aren't we? Well, we might get do you remember, I mean, the last expansion we had, they did the prelude, I guess, or whatever, like the pre-story for the. We went to the town, and then we did some investigating, etc., and that was separate for the expansion, right? So we might get a little bit of a peek of some stuff before, maybe.
I don't see why the Titans would come this far south.
Or maybe not the Titans, but like just maybe some information or whatever. I don't even know.
Maybe it'll be cleanup from all the Cryptus invasions that we're having to deal with, and you know, explaining where we've been all this time and what we've been doing. You know, because we kind of just no one wanted to talk to us, but we did kind of, you know, GTFO.
Well, we should have a cutscene of us like just having like a bath or something, and like then we suddenly get like a delivered letter, and then we're in a hot tub or something. We're just like, oh, I see. We must go to the Tyrion Alliance meeting. And we can just roleplay being in a hot tub.
Have you been watching a lot of The Witcher lately?
That is what pops into my head. Yes. Okay, so you're both pretty happy, but also Fornix is saying cautious, throwing caution to the wind.
I want them to get it right.
Yeah.
I want them to get it right. Please get it right, please.
I'm pretty hyped about. I think it's the part like the. Oh my god, White Mantle, Kodan. The combination of those Titans, the possibility of having so much in there, I think worries me a little tiny bit. That there may be some of that still kind of hanging over from the last expansion. I am a little bit concerned, but at the same time, if they just kind of stick to those pieces, I think that's enough. And just like really, really, really just develop those storylines and. I'm kind of just excited for the general expansion, like just because there's so many like features in it. Those that would, if the story doesn't hit the mark, I'm still gonna be very happy with this expansion. I think I'm like, yeah. So but as this is a story expansion, I think it's gonna from what I've read so far and from learning from both of you as well. Like it gets me more hype, that's for sure. So I'm glad we did this because it gives me more information as well because I want to go and learn and read a thing. I am going to quit
nerding for the greater good.
Sorry?
Nerding for the greater good.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. What I want to do is very quickly look at the PvP and World v World updates that came up as well on Wednesday because I had an impromptu Wednesday stream for this, which was very unusual. Normally it's Fridays, and then normally gives a lot more time. But they just talked about automated tournament and updates because I'm a PvP as well. Although I don't play PvP much anymore, but you know, still being interest generally. There's a new colored title for tournament play as well, and Jin's Dominion objective rework is happening. Apparently, I think what they were talking about was the fact that it's just one buff that you can get on your team and it's controlled by one player and it's going to be a lot stronger. Number of ATs, daily ATs is going to be reduced from 8 to 4. They're focusing these tournaments around more prime time play. So they're putting them at different times. Those are on the screen as well. If you want to go and watch the stream, I can give you that.
What is an AT?
An automated tournament. So in the Guild Wars 2 PvP in the Mist, you can apply to an automated tournament with your team and you can win things like gold. And in the Tournament of Legends, you can win a legendary, which is cool because they're coming back. So in the EU, it's going to be 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. UTC, which is GMT. And NA is like, wow. Oh no, they changed. Okay. EDT. Oh, they're quite late. Oh, they did these times in flipping UTC. Wow. 2 p.m., 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. Pacific. 2 a.m.? That's a really weird time to have an NA. It's offset to accommodate OCX player base. Oh, actually, that's pretty cool. They've offset one of the dates of the NA tournaments so that more folks from Australia and like that region can play. Really? Oceanic, sorry. That's actually, that's pretty cool. But like 8 p.m? And they didn't have, why didn't they just have 5 in there? Okay, that's weird. A weekly new AT has been added. It will occur every Sunday. Exact time is region specific. EU is going to be 5 p.m. GMT, UTC. NA is 8 p.m. UTC, which is 1 p.m. PDT, which is Pacific time. There's going to be no qualifying point entry, which is really good because you need to get qualifying points for the monthly tournaments, which you get from applying and winning or placing in automated tournaments during the week / month. And you need about 100 points per player to enter those tournaments. So that's cool. And there's a lot of more gold in the weeklies. The rewards include Ascended Shards of Glory and PvP League tickets, which is cool. Ascended Shards of Glory have gotten a little bit more worth as of late, which is cool. I'm just trying to go through this quickly. Do you have any questions?
And that's the start. Those are reagents that you can make legendary gear with.
Yes, and you can swap them for different rewards as well. And you can get Ascended Rings. Like PvP is probably one of the easiest places to get Ascended Rings from of most stats. Because you can hand in those and tickets and something else for Ascended Rings. It's one of the easiest places to get Ascended Rings. It's really, really good. But you do have to play PvP, of course. And there's a new monthly variety tournament that's been added, which is going to include 2v2s and 3v3s. So that's going to be a new AT, which is really cool. This will occur the second Saturday of the month at 7 p.m. UTC. And I think they made 12 p.m. Pacific on both regions. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Oh, yeah, okay. I think that could happen more, which would be cool. There's also going to be, permanent champions reset passes, rest pass, which is really, really cool. And a special title, new titles. And all of this stuff, all of the tiles and stuff that you're going to be getting isn't going to be retroactive. So it's not going to be stuff for people that achieved stuff in the past and been playing tournaments in the past. It's all like from now, from when it launches to the future. So if like you're playing in tournaments, if you're playing in all of this content, like no one's going to be given these titles like immediately, which I actually think is very cool.
That's a good idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Tournaments of Legends is actually returning for every 6 months. So they've never done this where it's been regular. So Tournament of Legends, when it first came out ages ago, we actually commentated it, had lots of stuff going on for it. Back in the day, that you get a legendary if you're in the first place, but the second place used to be a precursor, and obviously precursors are a lot easier to get now and are like 40 gold or something, so they've changed that price and you're going to get like a gift of whatever, a couple of different things which are going to help you, which is pretty cool. And there was Champion Brawler title is new. And they've given an example of the different color kind of title, which not many of those exist in the game. There's like the extra life title, which is blue, I believe. Which is pretty cool. Is there anything else here? They've changed the Jin Dominion changes. They're on the screen now if you want to think about those more. But basically, objective is now a channel instead of a capture point, like Temple Silent Storm when you channel to get the buffs. Channeling objective will now grant the player a special action skill, not for your team, because it used to be a team-wide thing and you just have this big meteor which come down. Giant meteor is no longer a ground target, it requires a target, so you can aim it at a player. The skill now knocks down, is unblockable, removes boons, and the player's... Whoa, okay, that's wild, actually. That's pretty cool.
Maybe you want to like explain some of this
I can explain it. So there's
people who've never done PvP.
Sure. So the PvP map called Jin's Dominion is one of the newer maps, although it's been around for like 4 or 5 years. And there is a buff which you could... there was a capture point in a portal that you could get, and if you captured it, you would get a team-wide buff where you could basically use an ability to hurt your enemies. Like it was an additional ability, a big AoE one. It wasn't really used much. The objective wasn't used much. It just wasn't really that fun. So they've changed it into a more very specific ability, which is, I believe, only for the player that channels this thing. So they're going to have the ability to do the giant meteor or whatever, which is interesting because there's free skills there. So I wonder how that's going to work.
I think, didn't it used to be on rotation? Like the skills
I
would
think it was. I can't remember.
change every channel.
I really didn't engage with it that much.
I did a bit. I like these changes quite a bit.
Yeah, there's some good changes, especially on this map.
Waters of Life is really interesting because Disenchantment Field was always a bit difficult because it would also strip your allies of their boons.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. That's interesting. Targeted AoE, the revising it. That one is very cool. Like you can get your you can get your support to go down there and grab it.
I wonder
really
what these
strong.
effects are gonna look like. Now I'm interested just from like a VFX standpoint.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. That's interesting.
It would have been nice if they showed these. Oh, they might not be ready. They might just be on like the planning phase, but.
If you use them while in the capture point the enemy controls, it will neutralize the capture point. That's so good. That's really cool. Starfall. It neutralizes the capture. That's like a Skyhammer mechanic. That's cool.
And now that it's only one person getting the buff,
Yeah.
you might actually have like a dedicated person to go and try and fight for it.
Absolutely. That's pretty good. Or to stop someone getting it. That's cool. Okay. So some solid changes there. Obviously with PvP coming up with the new game mode and stuff, they're really starting to focus a little bit more on that. So pretty cool. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what they're going to come up with there. I really want to know some updates about that actually myself. And then there were loads of World v World scoring updates and objective contesting update and siege and tactic update as well, which is a little bit too much for me to go through. And I'm not au fait with everything, but there's some charts on screen. I will also link this in the description below for folks, but there's a lot of different, they've changed the amount of score you get for capturing different objectives and stuff, and the scoring timers, and also the awards for objectives. Like, yeah, I don't understand this fully. I'm not going to pretend that I even know what I'm talking about. But
I have no idea.
Something
either.
which is cool here is objective contesting in EWPs. So old system objectives contest when an associated guard gets into combat. So you would normally do that as a strat to stop people from spawning into a waypoint. Or when a warlord was damaged as well. So the new system is that objectives contest when the lord or supervisor is put into combat. So you got more time. And then the wall or gate is damaged below 98%, which I think they should just remove that, or they should make it lower, like, you know, to
a lower
70.
health percentage,
yeah,
like 50.
Yeah, like 98% is nothing.
Yeah, 90% seems rather forgiving.
It doesn't really seem like a big change, to be fair, because they'll just change and do that. So that's something they can change. It's probably for testing.
Yeah, probably 50%. That's when I feel like someone's really committing to engaging.
Yeah, I mean, dependent on whether or not it's like a reinforced wall or door, because they take a little bit more to get down. Like maybe the percentage take. If it's a normal one, 50%. If it's like not, then maybe higher up or whatever. What they're trying to do, it looks like, is that they're trying to engage more people in defending objectives and caring more about objectives, because World v World is just mostly a bunch of folks who are running around a field killing each other. There's not much defense other than, I would say, considerable defense, because it feels like most of the time people are just kind of being overwhelmed numbers wise, and there's not much you can do. It's the siege and everything else that's really that impactful. And I think if people are going to care about it more because it's worth more points, then that's cool. I mean, I know there is impactful stuff, but you have to upgrade it pretty heavily.
I mean, I think defense is more important if you're playing it on the Eternal Battlefield, which is basically just like four different siege points, and you're all trying to kind of grab the castle in the center for the rewards of that. So
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Oh, they've actually done some siege updates as well. Oh, Alacrity can no longer be applied to players on siege.
I want them to just delete Alacrity. I need them to just commit to the bit.
I don't like it.
Commit to the bit. I also
never liked Alacrity.
I very rarely hear people in support of alacrity and things like quickness. Every time I go on the Reddit, it's always just like, why do we even have it? This feels very strange in the way that they design weapons and all this stuff.
I still don't like either those two.
As a quick heal, I object, but okay.
I think with quickness and alacrity, it really brings down the skill level of the game. I'm just like, I feel like you just get cooldowns earlier and things work quicker. Like, it just removes the risk factor of using an ability more, which I kind of miss.
I liked the way they originally implemented alacrity, where it was just an effect. It was a blue effect that did not scale, and it had a limited duration. And I actually really like that. Playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, I like when skills have good, strong impact, but are on a bit longer of a cooldown for like elite skills and whatnot. And it was really funny because I was watching Wind and Potato's old video when Chronomancer was first being released, and he was like, yeah, I really like that it's an effect and it's not a boon, because I feel like this thing can really get out of hand. And look where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
True.
They've reduced...
I also think
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I also think there's a lot of pressure on players, especially in raid environments, to keep up those boons 100%.
Yeah.
And if you are dropping off, people are getting their knickers in a twist about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy, especially when you're learning and you're trying to work your way around the mechanics of a fight, and you're trying to work on positioning so you don't stand in the fire and die. It's easy to let one or two boons slip and your duration drop, and then it can have such a catastrophic effect on the rest of the raid.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not just that. I mean, because like when I've been tanking Deimos, I'm responsible for making sure that everyone else doesn't get feared. I'm responsible for making so many. I feel like this game kind of focuses in on sort of like 2 or 3 players in a raid and piles all the responsibility for the success of the raid, like the hand kiter. If your hand kiter can't kite, you may as well just pack up and, I don't know, go and play Yahtzee or something. You just, it just doesn't, you know what I mean? There's a lot of pressure on people to keep up these very specific,
what a game
very
to pick,
unique
though.
roles.
Yahtzee.
That hand kiting mechanic, that hand kiting, in retrospect, having that be a mechanic that always is rolling is kind of wild.
I wonder how they envisioned us dealing with that, because I do not think that they thought that someone would have the balls, the stamina, the abilities to actually just fucking stand there and deal with it and have all that damage. I don't think they thought that we would do that.
Yeah, were they expecting like 2 or 3 people to like weave in and out from like range thresholds? Strange.
Who knows?
I would have loved to be in that meeting deciding like, what is the concept of this fight for this mechanic?
Okay.
More beta testing.
I'm gonna
Anyway.
pull us back. There's gonna be a new weapon set for World v World as well. Corrupted Heroes weapons obtained through hardened lockboxes, and also the Ascended version, which is through the Mystic Forge. There's gonna be rare hero weapon from the hero weapon reward track as well, which is cool. You can get through new Mystic Forge ingredient purchased for World v World currencies. There's Grandmaster Mark Shards, blah, blah, blah. Cool. That's nice. New weapon skins. Phoenix, you got some fashion to get going?
Not gonna lie, these weapon skins look really good.
They
At
do
least
look
from
good.
the art that is shown off.
I like them a lot, actually.
Are they a recolor of the original sets that we have in World v World? Are they just
I don't think so.
I don't think so, no. I think they're different. They've got an eye in the middle of them.
Yeah, they have more of a demonic-y, spiky. Because the original one, it was more like sleek and like wind trails.
This is
Yeah,
more
they
of
had
like...
like white aura, didn't they?
There's like an eye and like a kind of teeth or spine feel to them. I don't know. They look really cool though.
The Great Sword has a similar silhouette, I will say.
Yeah, I was looking at the mace
And a
that has
spear.
a very similar silhouette.
They look very good, actually.
I have a question, because I was actually AFK when you started talking about a World v World. Did they mention anything about increasing the amount of skirmish tickets? Because
No.
this bitch is still
Not as far as I'm
legendary.
aware.
No.
Maybe they talked about it.
I'll have
I
to
don't
go
know.
through.
Yeah, you'd have to go and watch it. I didn't want to go into it too much, but it feels like there is actually a lot of changes here which look pretty good. Which might be... I can't jump into World v World every so often. I'm looking forward to the Jin's Dominion changes as well. I think the AT tournament changes as well are really cool.
You know what I'm looking forward to? A new PvP game mode.
I want to know more about that.
I want to try something different.
I know. I really want to know about that pretty bad, actually.
Well, we were talking about that last time. We were talking about like something like Ultra Valley. That would be so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good. Awesomeness. Okay, peeps.
Yeah.
I don't know. There we are. We're gonna be back maybe next week if they bring us some news. It's the summer, so we aren't gonna have shows every week unless there is like some major stuff kind of going on. But we're hitting like expansion hype levels now, so we probably are going to be every week until the expansion, depending. I may send you over to someone as well. Otherwise, is there anything else you both wanted to mention before we go, or
I wanted to mention that we collectively are thinking of doing a general MMO podcast.
Yes,
it's something that we've been talking about for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you guys want to like chime in, would you be interested in that? Are there any MMOs that you really want us to dive into as a collective and like turn our analytical and bullshit towards that? And you know, let us know what you think. That's
for sure.
That was what I was thinking.
Yes, yeah. I have a ton of different guests and ideas of people as well who may we may bring into this as well, other than just yourselves, of course, which is going to be cool. But yeah.
So you're firing us?
No, you're coming.
So we're getting fired.
You're coming.
So we're getting let go.
Because us three, us three play a lot of different MMOs. So does Rook and Boots might not be coming along for the ride because Blaze just plays God of War 2. But like, you know, we'll have a look.
Have been affected.
We might get some new content creators from those specific games in that we may not know a lot about, and some new folks. So that's a future thing which is going to happen. Thank you, Fornex, for you've now put that into the ether as well. So it's now going to
I've been
light
trying to hammer you down for this for about a year, so you know, I'm nailing your feet to the ground now. Let's do this.
I've got to stop mentioning things. I'm going to raid someone. Let's raid someone. Anyway, that doesn't matter because we're still doing the show. Who? Kroof, tell us what you do. Where you do it.
Hi everyone, I like to put the dildo of consequence with no lube into my Kamali's gate. And I'm equally as excited to play Guild Wars 2 Janthir WIlds when it releases on August 20th. If you've yet to pick up the expansion, you can use my referral link or any of our referral links here. It greatly helps us out. And if you have a friend who's been thinking about getting into Guild Wars 2, now is the perfect time. So don't hesitate. Click that link and purchase. You can either get some upgraded versions for some nice bundles and swag. People still use that word. And if you'd like to support me on my social, you can go to my YouTube channel. I have videos. I also stream here on Twitch on the weekends, doing Baldur's Gate 3, Guild Wars 2, and 14. I mean, Final Fantasy 14. If you just say the number 14, no one knows what you're talking about, unless you're really into the know. Thank you for having me here. It's been lovely. Amazing.
Epic. Yes. Yep. Check out the links in the description below as well for all the things. As Chris said, please go and follow and do the things. Fornex, tell us what you do, where you do it.
Yeah. I don't know how to follow that. Free dildos with all my streams.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
No, don't say that. Oh my god. Everyone's gonna go. Like, you don't stream anymore, though. You don't stream much.
I keep on like opening OBS and like going, oh, but what am I gonna say for 3 hours? Okay. So hey, I'm Fornex, the Crichton Herald. I make content over on YouTube. I'm going to make content here, and please do check out my latest video about Final Fantasy 14. There is also a load of stuff about Janthir WIlds as well. I've made a couple of videos on that, talking about the lore, talking about the blog posts and previous blog posts, and I will be working on a post today about, well, actually no, because I'm going to bed, tomorrow about this blog post and the lore, and I will recover the stuff that we've gone on here and probably dive a bit deeper because we'll have more time. And so if you're interested in that, it's going to be coming up on the channel in the next couple of days. I'll try and get it done before the weekend. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for having me again.
You're very welcome.
Sorry
very glad
for the overalls. Yes.
The thing is, like, I'm not sorry because you're. Anyway.
Did you hear that, chat? Jebro's not sorry.
I'm not sorry. Don't forget to follow me and all the
Really
things. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, everything. Jebro Unity. If you want to come watch the podcast, it's 1 p.m. Pacific on a Friday, roughly. We're pretty close to being on time today, kind of ish. That is 8 p.m. GMT. We will see you next time. If you want to go and check out the podcast everywhere else, that's on Spotify. Just put the Lightbringers in there as well. On all things, Lightbringers Guild Wars 2 podcast. You get to find us out. My mods are sassing my ass as well, which is completely normal and fine. Because the sass is strong with these ones, which is everyone else. See you next time on Lightbringers Podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and have an enjoyed rest of your day or week or year.
Bye, cookies.
Bye.
Bye.